And welcome to the Guide Review. I'm Yo. Oh, special guest today, Steve Ryman sitting in. We recently had a chance to go check out Cowboys and Aliens, one that I know you were really looking forward to. We've talked a lot about over the summer. Can't wait for it to get here. Now that it's here, how do you feel about it that you've seen it?
Well, I said to someone earlier, it didn't disappoint.
Which is good, because Green Lantern dead.
Oh yeah, I think at the end of the summer it would be interesting to kind of go through and see what hit like we thought it would.
Right.
And I say it didn't disappoint. I had high expectations.
Yeah, I know. You've been talking about it for a long, long time, especially with Daniel Craig and Harrison Ford being in it and whatnot. And you're a Western buff, so how did it compare to like your desire to see like a good Western movie? It
was a good Western. I wouldn't put it above something like Unforgiven or True Grit.
Right.
But it was a good Western. 3:10 to Yuma would be a good comparison.
Yeah, I've said that a lot. It was very 3:10 to Yuma-esque, but with aliens. But you know, like the level of the action was pretty much the same as 3:10 to Yuma. And so far as like how gritty the action was, I mean, it was a pretty gritty Western.
Yeah.
You know, if there's one thing that I thought was, you know, kind of a downer about the movie, is that it was very one note. I mean, you know, it wanted to be a serious Western, almost to the point where there's times where it was like almost too serious, where they... And Harrison Ford and Daniel Craig's characters are also very one note. I mean, they're pretty much the same from beginning to end. There isn't a lot of change, and they kind of do their same thing throughout the whole movie. But it's still enjoyable to watch. Like, I still had a good time watching it, despite the one-noteness of it. I mean, it delivers on what it says it is. Cowboys and Aliens. That's what you get.
Right.
I thought it was a lot of fun. I agree. It did not disappoint me. And I liked the preacher character.
Uh-huh.
Played by Clancy Brown, who also does the voice for Lex Luthor in the Superman cartoons. And I liked the interaction that he had with the Doc, you know, where, you know, he was talking about the Doc and with the Doc, and he's talking about how God is good, and Doc's like, nah, I don't know, God hasn't been that good to me. And I liked where he was explaining to him, you know, sometimes we just try to leave everything up to God. He wants to do us to do a little of the work ourselves. You know, he's teaching him how to shoot and take care of himself. He's like, you can't leave it just all up to God. We have to take some responsibility, and that's so true for all of us. I mean, we're quick to blame God when things go wrong, but very often we're not willing to do the work to help get things done. And not that, you know, God helps those who help themselves. That's not in the Bible. But it's a principle. You know, God does encourage us and wants us to do our part. He's not going to do it all for us.
He wants us to meet him.
Right. So, you know, there's some good things to think about in that movie, and it was fun. PG-13, like we said, the violence is pretty gritty.
Yeah.
And that stuff with the aliens, pretty slimy, graphic type stuff.
You mentioned the preacher character, and one of the other things you and I talked about after the movie that I thought really stood out was a point in the movie where he was having dialogue with Daniel Craig's character. And Daniel Craig had been an outlaw, and it becomes apparent that that's his past. But the preacher, and I may get the line wrong, but the sentiment was, it doesn't matter so much what you've done, is what you do from here.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, for those of us who have lived those lives, that we have all this baggage, and how could a God who's so good ever forgive us? He can, and he does.
Yep.
And you can start fresh today and press on and do good things for his kingdom.
So what would you give it? 7 being perfect, between 1 and 7, 7 being a perfect score. How would you rate this one?
This is probably an 8 for me.
Wow, okay.
Well, 7 being perfect.
7 being perfect.
Okay.
You just busted the whole scale.
No, this was not an 8.
Okay.
This I would say 5.5.
5.5. Yeah, you know, I'd give it a 5 as well. Like you said, it lived up to expectations. It didn't disappoint. It pretty much delivers on what it promises, and you can't go wrong with that this summer. And it was fun to see Indiana Jones and James Bond on the screen together.
Yeah.
So you guys can check out the full written review, gameandmovieguide.com, or if you got some comments that you want to share and talk about the movie, be sure to visit us, facebook.com/gameandmovieguide, and see you next time.
Thanks, Joe.